Hello, I'm Joan Landis, and today we're talking about investing in your relationship with one another. So this is really important because a lot of us, after the courtship is over and we establish our lifestyle, and it's easy to just take our relationship for granted. And this can be a problem because relationships, like anything else, need attention and investment of time and energy to be nurtured and to grow and to thrive, so that we're growing in love and we're not withering on the vines, right? So if you think in terms of an emotional bank account, and I think Stephen Covey did a really good job with this concept, and Willard Harley also talks about it. I don't think it's the most deep and profound idea about relationships, but it definitely is easy to understand, and we'll go with it. But the idea of the emotional bank account says that when somebody does something nice for me, that my emotional bank account with their name on it actually rises as they put deposits, good deposits, into this emotional bank account, and they build up a nice cushion of assets. And so if we have a really full emotional bank account from our partner doing all these kinds of really great things, then that helps so that if our partner does something kind of silly or not very good, that's like taking withdrawal out of that emotional bank account, okay? And so the amount of security and comfort and safety we have in that relationship diminishes a little bit, okay? So that's the idea of an emotional bank account, that good things are deposits, bad things are withdrawals. Again, it's very simplified, but it can still work. So here's the interesting thing. If you have a really big emotional bank account for someone, they can do some negative things for quite a while, and they still are on the plus side, okay? But if we have a very, very small amount of pluses in that, and then they take out something else, man, we're in the red. It's not good. And so the idea is that we want to spend lots of time and put in the positive deposits and invest in those relationships to build up that really good amount of emotional funds there that can be drawn on in an emergency or whatever. And so how do we invest? How do we make deposits in that account? Well, again, we go back to the love languages, right? Because we might think we're making a big deposit in someone's bank account, their emotional bank account, but if it's not their love language, you don't get as much credit for the effort that you've made. So that's why we kind of start with that basic premise of love language. And then another thing that's really important that makes a deposit in that emotional bank account is this concept of love maps, and we've talked about it before. And a love map is basically, the intellectual map of your loved one's life. It's, do I know the names of people that are involved in your loved one's life? Do I know the events, the schedules, the stresses, the good things, the bad things? Do I know like their calendar kind of? Do I have a very good and detailed map of their world in here? And from our very first course where we talked about your emotional world with the emotions, the triggers, the stressors, the core issues, if you have a good sense of their emotional world too, along with their logistical scheduling and friendship, relationship world, that is incredible. That's going to make you really a powerful figure in their life because you understand them so deeply, and you have a very good cognitive map of their current stressors and all of what's going on in their life. So that's a very important way to invest in someone in your relationship too, is as you talk to them and as they bring things up to your attention, make sure you file this stuff away, and you make a note of it, and you think about it, and you don't just let it blow over you. There's really nothing quite as it's quite discouraging for a spouse to have to keep repeating to their partner, what's the name of your boss again? Well, it's David. I've told you a million times. It just means that they didn't quite care enough to put it in their brain and put it on that love map. And so if you will take the effort to, as you're making emotional bank deposits into that bank account, one of the ways that is a very important way to deposit in that emotional bank account is through things that mean their love language, and to solidify that love map and understand their emotional world. And that's a very powerful way to become more closely bonded, connected, safer, and more loving with your partner or spouse. So what I would like you to do this week is I'd like you to take the time, and we'll link to a list of questions that will help you develop a better love map for your partner or spouse. And then start jotting things down and remembering them. I know as a clinician, I have to have a page for each of especially my teenagers. I need to know the names of their friends, and I need to know, certain things about those friends. I keep notes so that I can, when they walk in and they sit down, and I can say, hey, so how's Shannon doing on that suicidality she was talking about with you, before. And I can talk intelligently. So the famous story about love maps is this, that a husband is divorced from the family, and so he calls up and talks to his 10-year-old son and says, hey, so Bobby, it's like your birthday coming up, right? And Bobby says, well, yeah, it's next week. And the dad goes, well, it's close enough, but hey, so I was just wondering, I wanted to get you a gift, and so I already bought you some really cool Star Wars Legos. And the Bobby goes, I hate Star Wars Legos. And the dad goes, really? But you've always loved him. And he says, I haven't played Star Wars Legos for like 2 years, Dad. And the dad goes, oh, okay, well, all right, so hey, are you still going out for baseball? And, the son goes, no, Dad, I don't like baseball anymore either. I'm really getting into lacrosse. And the dad goes, oh, okay, well, we should do something together sometime, right? And the boy's like, yeah, sure, Dad. Goodbye, and they hang up. Okay, so what's wrong with this picture? That dad had feelings of love for his boy, but his love map was practically blank, and it was out of date, right? And so that boy heard that his father really didn't care to keep up on his life or even know what was going on for him. And that was a tremendous withdrawal from that emotional bank account, which might have been quite low to start with, right? And this dad thought he was doing a good thing of calling up, talking about his birthday, blah, blah, blah. But he struck out over and over and over because he did not have a good love map. So that's a really sad but often true experience of what happens. Now there's on the flip side is this call, from the divorced dad, and he says, hey, so Bobby, you know what? Your birthday's tomorrow, and I really want to take you and do something that you'd like to do. And I know you've been dying to go see, whatever movie and everything. And so, are you still interested in that? And I'll get tickets. And he goes, yeah, I am. That'd be so cool. And then he says, hey, and by the way, so what were tryouts like for basketball? Did you do okay with that? And then the boy goes, yeah, it was okay. I kind of, I messed up a little bit, but not as bad as my friend. My friend Jimmy, he totally biffed it. I felt so bad. He got cut right off the bat. And then the dad goes, oh, no, not Jimmy. Jimmy's a great athlete. And, the son goes, I know, it was so bad. I don't know how he just didn't do well. And we were all really bummed about it. And he was mad. Do you see how that's a totally different conversation? Why? Because that father had a really pretty good love map about his son. He understood what was going on currently, who the friends are, what the issues were, what the stressors were, and he could talk intelligently and lovingly to his son. So, investing in relationships. Think in terms of those deposits, withdrawals. Try not to make many withdrawals. And then also understand that if you have a very good love map, that's one of the best ways to make deposits in somebody's emotional bank account. So have fun with that, and explore that. Maybe choose, I want you to go through that questionnaire with your spouse or partner, and then also think in terms of actually creating some notes for your loved ones, so that you can kind of keep track of, oh, what is going on in their life, and have a better sense of that. So share with us on the forums what you find is a surprise or a benefit, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.